What if the fear of failure isn't what's really holding you back? What if it's the excuses? You know, the ones that sound like perfectly legitimate reasons. If you've ever told yourself, "I'm not quite ready yet," or "I just need to do a little more research," you're letting a sneaky little mindset trick run your life. But today, we're going to call its bluff. We'll break down the method used by top performers to conquer self-doubt, and I'll give you 3 real-world strategies you can use to build resilience and finally take action with confidence. Sound familiar? You get a brilliant idea, a new business, a creative project, maybe a total career change. For a second you feel that jolt of excitement, but then that other voice kicks in, the what-if voice. What if I fail? What if people think I'm an idiot? What if I'm just not good enough? Suddenly that exciting idea feels terrifying. So you do the smart thing, right? You retreat to safety. You tell yourself you just need a better plan. You spend weeks, maybe even months, in research mode. You read every book, watch every video, and take every course on the topic. It feels productive, but you aren't actually producing anything. You're just organizing your fear. Look, your brain isn't trying to be cruel. It's just trying to protect you. Your brain's fear center, the amygdala, is hardwired to keep you safe from threats. And to your brain, the risk of failure or embarrassment is a very real threat. So it floods you with doubt and nudges you toward procrastination, because procrastinating feels a hell of a lot safer than taking a leap. But that safety is a cage. It keeps you from risk, sure, but it also keeps you from growth, from success, and from the life you actually want. The cost of that safety is playing small. But what if you could rewire that entire response? What if you could treat fear not as a stop sign, but as a compass pointing you straight toward growth? The truth is, every successful person you look up to has felt the exact same fear. They just learned how to handle it differently. In this video, we're breaking down a 3-part mindset hack that top entrepreneurs and leaders use to turn that fear into fuel. We're going to cover how to put your fear on a budget, how to take action before you feel ready, and how to completely reframe your relationship with failure for good. Let's get into it. First up, stop treating fear like some big scary emotion and start treating it like a resource you can manage. Right now, your fear probably feels infinite. It's a huge dark cloud that paralyzes you. But successful people don't see it that way. They get specific, they quantify it. It's a method author and entrepreneur Tim Ferriss calls fear setting. The idea is to define your fears in painstaking detail to realize they aren't as bad as you think. Instead of being paralyzed by a vague, overwhelming fear of what if this all goes wrong, you can contain it. For example, instead of just being afraid of the financial risk of starting a business, you create a financial safety net. You might save 6 months of living expenses. That becomes your fear budget. You tell yourself, I am budgeting 6 months of my life and this specific amount of money to see if this idea can work. By doing this, you transform a vague, terrifying fear into a manageable, calculated experiment. You're not taking a blind leap of faith. You're running a test with a clear and defined budget. This allows you to act despite the fear, because you know exactly what the cost of failure would be. It's not infinite. It's a number you've already calculated and accepted. Your action step is to literally quantify your fear. Ask yourself, what is the actual measurable price of trying this thing you're afraid of? Is it investing $500 into a new skill, Is it dedicating 10 hours a week for the next 2 months? Is it risking a specific amount of your savings? Write that number down. Put it on paper. This simple act is incredibly powerful. It takes the terrifying monster of "what if I fail" and turns it into a simple math problem you can solve. You're no longer a victim of your fear, you are the manager of it. You've put a fence around it, and now you get to decide if the experiment is worth the budgeted cost. Okay, on to the second hack, and this one is a total game changer. Most of us operate under the assumption that we need to feel confident before we can take action. We wait for the doubt to magically disappear. We wait until we feel ready. This is the biggest lie that fear tells you. Confidence isn't a prerequisite for action. Confidence is a result of action. Think about it. You weren't confident the first time you tried to ride a bike. You were wobbly, uncertain, probably terrified. But you got on anyway. You fell, you got back up, and you tried again. It was through the messy, imperfect act of doing it that you built the skill, and then the confidence followed. This is what's known as the action confidence loop. Action creates a small win. That small win gives you a tiny hit of confidence. That confidence makes it easier to take the next action, which creates another win, and the loop builds on itself. The key is to start the loop, even when you have zero confidence. Hollywood screenwriter Brian Koppelman, the co-creator of the show, has talked about a time when his career completely stalled and he was crushed by self-doubt. He didn't wait for some bolt of inspiration. He just started writing a little bit each morning. Those small, consistent actions slowly rebuilt his momentum and his confidence, long before he saw any external results. So, your action step is to find the smallest possible step you can take right now. Forget the giant, overwhelming goal for a moment. Break it down into what experts call micro-accomplishments. Your goal is not to launch a successful podcast. Your goal is to spend 15 minutes brainstorming 5 possible names. Your goal isn't to get in shape. Your goal is to put on your workout clothes and walk for 10 minutes. The key is to make that first step so small and so easy that your brain doesn't even have a chance to talk you out of it. An action, no matter how tiny, is what starts the engine. Confidence is just the fuel you pick up along the way. Now, breaking these big goals down can still be tough, and your brain will fight you on it. That's why I've created a free 1-page action planner PDF that walks you through this exact process, breaking down your biggest fear into a tiny, manageable first step. It's a simple tool, but it's incredibly effective for getting you out of research mode and into action mode. You can download it for free at the link in the description. This brings us to our final and maybe most powerful mindset hack: reframing your entire relationship with failure. Most of us see failure as a verdict, a final judgment on our abilities and our worth. If we fail, it means we are a failure. This belief is the root of the fear that keeps so many of us from even trying in the first place. But the most successful people have a radically different perspective. They don't see failure as an endpoint. They see it as data. They see it as a lesson. They see it as the tuition they have to pay for an education in success. There's a famous story about Sarah Blakely, the billionaire founder of Spanx. When she was growing up, her father would ask her and her brother at the dinner table every week, "So what did you fail at this week?" If they didn't have an answer, he'd be genuinely disappointed. Think about that. He was disappointed by their lack of failure. Why? Because he knew that if they weren't failing, it meant they weren't trying anything new. They weren't pushing themselves outside their comfort zone. He taught her to reframe failure, not as something to be ashamed of, but as a sign of effort and growth. Your action step is to put this into practice by starting what I call a failure resume. You have a resume for your successes, your degrees, job titles, and accomplishments. Now, it's time to create one for your failures. Open a document and list the projects that didn't work out, the ideas that flopped, the times you got a hard no. But here's the crucial part. For each one, write down one sentence about what you learned from that experience. Did a marketing campaign fail? Great. The lesson is, I learned my target audience doesn't respond to that messaging. Did you get rejected for a job? Perfect. The lesson is, I learned I need to strengthen my interview skills in this specific area. This exercise does something incredible. It retrains your brain to stop seeing failure as a painful dead end and to start seeing it as a valuable stepping stone. It proves to you that every setback actually moves you forward because it gives you new information. When failure becomes your teacher instead of your judge, its power to scare you simply disappears. So, let's bring it all together. The paralyzing force in your life isn't really fear itself, it's the story you tell yourself about the fear. But today, you learned how to write a new story. First, by creating a fear budget, you make fear finite and manageable instead of infinite and overwhelming. Second, by taking tiny, calculated steps, you kickstart the action confidence loop and prove to yourself that you can move forward even when you're scared. And third, by reframing failure as your greatest teacher, you rob it of its power to stop you. Fear and doubt are natural. They don't mean you should stop. They're a sign that you're standing at the edge of your comfort zone, which is the only place where real growth happens. The goal isn't to be fearless. The goal is to act in spite of the fear, because on the other side of that fear is everything you want. Don't forget to download the free Action Planner PDF to take your first concrete step today. The link is right there in the description. And if this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below with the hashtag #ActionOverDoubt. Tell me the one small step you're going to take this week. Let's build a community of action takers together. Now go out there and take that step.